Prince Harry has lost an attempt to get part of the Mail on Sunday publisher's defence thrown out in a libel case. The Duke of Sussex has taken the newspaper to the High Court over an article that they published back in 2022, detailing his security arrangements whenever he's over here in the UK. This latest defeat for him means the case will now have to go to trial. Joining me now, TalkTV's royal commentator Rupert Bell, and barrister Bobby Friedman stays with us to give the legal side of all of this. So why doesn't Bobby set out the problem or the issue here? Because it sounds a bit technical, this one, Bobby.
It is a bit technical. The first thing to bear in mind is that there is no final judgment here. This was an early attempt by Prince Harry to get the Mail's defence struck out. So what it means is that it's going to go to a full trial, and we'll find out there whether Prince Harry is right or whether the Mail is right. But essentially, this relates to an article which was writing about Prince Harry's, another set of legal proceedings involving Prince Harry. You may have noticed he quite liked bringing a claim. So this was about his judicial review involving his police protection for him and his family. And essentially, he is saying that the Mail wrongly suggested that he was trying to mislead and confuse the public as to the true position. And it all turns on whether the Mail was able to give what's known as an honest opinion in the case law about what Prince Harry was doing. So, as I say, it's a victory for the Mail, but it's a victory in the battle, not the war. The war is going to continue for a while in this case, I think.
And each time there's an issue like this or a blip in the route into court or the route to reaching a settlement outside court, Bobby, it's expensive, isn't it? Prince Harry spending a great deal of money, it seems, on different legal fees in different capacities.
Yes, that is certainly true. He's going to be spending an awful lot of money. I mean, of course, he may well think it is worth it. It's quite unusual for people to bring as many cases as Prince Harry has brought in the court. Some people do. Part of that is because you need enough things to complain about, and part of that is you need enough money to do something about it. But also, you need to be the kind of person who wants to go through the difficulties, the stress that comes with bringing claims of this sort. So he's spending an awful lot of money, but also a lot of time and effort. And I think that's no surprise. We all know how Prince Harry feels towards the press. Not exactly a fan of the British press, it has to be said. And I think this is his way of fighting back. And he sees this article and says that it's unfair. So he wants to try and do something about it. And of course, we have newspapers in the UK now defending a number of claims from Prince Harry. And we will see what happens. But of course, this is a defamation claim. It raises all sorts of other issues. There are free speech issues in play here, because this is about was the Mail able to give its honest opinion on these matters? Prince Harry says no, but there is a kind of free speech aspect to it. We want our press to get things right. We want to make sure that things are accurately reported, but there's also a sense of concern if sometimes it can be too easy for people to bring defamation claims that succeed. So, as I say, it's very early on. People often early on in litigation get a bit of a win and like to sort of wave that around and say, "Isn't it great?" And of course, it is great for the Mail because they're still in the game, and associated newspapers haven't lost. But it doesn't mean they will win at trial. We're going to have to wait to see what happens with that.
Thank you, Bobby. Let's go to Rupert. Rupert, you heard Bobby saying there, well, Harry does appear to have a bit of a penchant for going to court, whereas you might say that most people would do anything to avoid it. And you might think the royal family in general does its very best not to set foot in a courtroom.
Well, the rest of the royal family do their level best. That's why people are, the allegations around the Omid Scobie book, people saying, well, should the royal family take legal action? Well, for them, it's the last stop, basically. They really wouldn't even contemplate it unless they feel they absolutely have to. But for Harry, it's all, both of these issues, this week's one and the one, well, both of them are surrounding claims about the security arrangements that he wants for his family. He feels, and particularly this one that's been heard this week, was about, with the Home Office, about the security arrangements for his family. And ultimately, it comes down to the allegations within the first court case that with the setback possibly for the win for the male, was also talking about, he said that he wanted to pay for his care, even though originally he said that he didn't in the documents that were produced to the Home Office. So that's where that court case has gone. But he does seem to love to be in court. But that is his cause célèbre, I think, as Bobby was referring to. He does want to try and take on the press because he feels he's been a victim all his life of poor treatment by the press, which I think at times we'd have to say that's not always the case, because certainly in the build-up to the wedding, the press was universally happy for him, and we saw, but it's only really turned nasty again since he decided that he's had enough of being a member of the British royal family in a working capacity.